following along with the pups training, we've had them now for about 2.5 months. We've laid a foundation of shaping behaviors, a little bit of lure work, building a lot of motivation and drive within them wanting to work with us. And then also inside the house, creating calmness. So we have transitioned from an X-pen to now more tethering in the home. And within the next month, they'll be starting to get a little bit more freedom, more of a leash hanging around and following after them. So now we are going to start introducing a little bit of negative reinforcement to condition your dog to complete the behavior long-term with or without food, and also for them to have a better understanding what's expected from them. So again, you shouldn't be adding in leash communication until you already have some base with your dog of understanding a clear marker system. With the puppies, we've primarily been using the 1 click and 2 click, just the clicker method. So 1 click is your duration, keep doing what you're doing, and then the 2 clicks is your terminal marker. They can come into you for a jackpot of a reward, a single piece of food reward, a chase game, or a tossing away of a reward, so really making it fun and dynamic. And so now what we're gonna layer on is our leash. So what we like to first use is a slip leash. Also, you can use a normal flat collar and a 4 to 6 foot leash attached to it. It shouldn't be too loose that your dog can put the brakes on and slip out. That's the bad thing about how a lot of flat collars are worn. So that's why we use a slip lead, because your dog can't slip out of it. So slide it over your dog's head, and then that leather stopper, slide all the way down so it's a nice snug fit. So we're gonna have that nice snug fit, and the amount of pressure we're gonna be using is fingertips. So you shouldn't be yelling at your dog, yanking them around. That's unnecessary. You should be using your leash as a whisper to tell your dog what you want them to be doing. So with our leash, you want to communicate to your dog as if your leash is like a plus sign. So if you're trying to move them into a direction, it'll be either a constant pull and then releasing that pressure when they come into it, or it might be a tap, tap, tap until your dog comes into it, depending on the situation. Now for the sit, our leash is gonna go straight up. As soon as your dog hits the ground, pressure turns off. And then if we're going to the down from a sit, it will go straight down. When they lay down, pressure turns off. If your dog is going from a stand to a down, your leash is going to go at an angle, a 45-degree angle, to get them to pull into that down. And then we're also going to be layering it on for our heel work and our place work. So with the heel, if your dog's in front of you, we're gonna swivel them away and then up. So you're gonna go away from your body and then up to complete that seated position. And then to the place board, you're gonna have that line towards the place board. And again, this is not a correction to your dog. It is negative reinforcement. So you're removing the pressure to reinforce a behavior. It's not hurting your dog. Again, you should be using your leash as a whisper and not a yelling mechanism. Condition it in a low distracting environment first, and then start to layer on more distractions. If you're yanking your dog around, you are moving way too fast, and you might be setting your dog up for complete and utter failure. And also, if your dog has already been conditioned to pull against a small collar or slip lead, this is gonna take a lot longer time. And that is why we've always suggested as a puppy to either start with a big flat collar that's completely different from a thin one, or a harness. And the harness is the best option because you're gonna leave their neck completely free of any tension, and they'll be able to respond to very minimal leash work. So if you guys have any questions, as always, comment below, and hopefully you're progressing with your pup. And make sure that you tag us in your videos so we can see you training your pup the KeenDog way. All right, guys, so we're gonna work with Bun now. With the leash, we'll just cover our foundation behaviors, adding in that slip leash pressure. So you can see it's fit snug underneath his neck with a leather stopper all the way down. Now, what I will do is put the clicker in the same arm as the leash. We do have our clickers on a little bungee thing around our wrist, so that way if we drop the clicker, it's not gonna fall on the dog. And then I'll just put the leash around my thumb here, so that way I have control. And then my right hand is accessible for that food. Okay, so let's get started. Bud. He loves the heel position, so even though I wanted him to sit, we're gonna do that again. So you can see he wants to flip into the heel. Free. Good. We're gonna do it again, and now I'm gonna pair up some food with it since he's struggling a little bit. So I'm gonna have the leash and food. Your dog might start to default to a behavior that you focus on a lot. So we're gonna shorten up the leash so he doesn't have access to offer up that position, and we'll go back to a little bit of food help to help him out. There's no harm in that. So we're gonna just get him up, straight up, free. We're gonna do it again. A single click if I want him to hold the position. Nice, and then 2 clicks to bust out. Good job, bud. Free. Good boy. Sit. Good job. So I relax the leash, and then you're gonna mark the behavior. So he wants to offer up another position. That's not what we want. I'm gonna use a little bit of spatial pressure along with that leash going straight up. We don't want your dog to get lazy. We're only holding this sit for a little bit, so don't allow your dog to then get into that next position. So step in, leash pressure up, relax as soon as your dog's in the position. Nice job. So now we're gonna start using that leash to get him into that heel position. So with our left hand, you don't want to go at an upwards angle with your dog. Even though he flipped into the position nicely, most dogs will not do that. So you wanna be a little bit more forward with that leash and then go up. Free. Heel. Bud, heel. Heel. So now we're going to start working on stepping away with the right foot. So I stepped away, he held the position. I'm gonna mark that behavior, and then I'm gonna come back and reward. When I come back and reward, I'm rewarding nice and high to reinforce that focus. You don't wanna reward your dog here, because then they're gonna keep looking out at the distractions of the world. So since he's doing so good with this, I'm gonna toss out a piece of food. That might get him to break it. If he goes to break that sit, pressure of the leash is gonna go straight up. All right, so since he didn't break it, I'm gonna reward that with our terminal marker, make it really fun and exciting for him, because that was huge. So you definitely wanna reward your dog for making the right decision. He's a little bit behind me, so I'm gonna remove him by taking a step forward with my left foot, straight up, good boy. And now we'll start working on some downs. So we're gonna drape that leash. It's being too good. It's being too good. So we're gonna drape the leash down his side and add a little bit of pressure from our foot. So there, when I single clicked, he did break it when I was on the way. So I'm going to withhold that food and bring him back into that down position. Yeah, good boy, Buzz. Very nice. Yes, a good boy. Nice work, bud. Good. Free. So if your dog keeps going to the left because you work on that a lot, you can see I use the leash, directionally moved him to the right. That way your dog's not just flipping into whatever behavior, they're gonna respond to the leash in the direction that you want them to. We're gonna call it a lesson for him. Keep it short with your dogs. Make sure that you're being light with your leash work and work on a variety of different behaviors. You can also start to name your behavior at the same time you're using your leash in the beginning stages. Good boy. That's it. Yes. Good boy. Yeah. Yes. There we go. Good boy. Good job. Yes. Nice job. Good boy. Good boy. Yes. Good job. Good work. You're doing so good. Yes. There we go. Good boy. Good boy, Yosh. That's a good boy. Yeah. Good boy. Good boy. Good job. Yes. Good boy. Yay. Yes. All right, you won. Good job. Look at that strut.